This is episode 2 of Confessions of a Rock and Roll Wifey, and this is the third season. We're calling it Spill the Tea because I'm going to tell you guys all kinds of stuff about me that you may not have known. And if you don't know me, then maybe it'll be something that'll at least be entertaining for you. So, yeah, here goes. Hey, everybody. How's it going? It's been a few weeks since I dropped the first episode, and now it's February. So I figured what better time than now to do a second episode. I miss all of you so much. Thank you guys so much, everybody who's been supporting me and who watched the last episode and who listened on Spotify. I appreciate you so much. Seriously. I miss all my friends in San Diego and I just love you all. And I also, just appreciate and love all my new friends and people around here as well that have supported me also. That being said, I also wanted to say that in my last episode, that episode, I was so tired. I don't know if you could tell. I'm sure you could, but I had been working so much and trying to get things done at my job. And I have been giving myself these deadlines of like, okay, make sure you do the podcast because that's the only way that I'm going to get things done is if I have it scheduled. I used to be a super just go with the flow type person. And then I went into super hyper over planner mode when I started having more responsibilities and things that I needed to take care of. And now I'm kind of like in the middle where I plan a lot, but I try not to get upset if things don't go the way that they're planned. Anyways, basically, long story short, I have put myself on these schedules of when I'm going to do the podcast. And today was the day for this one. And as you can tell, I'm a lot more rested and I am a little more energetic. And I have so many cool things to talk to you about and to share with you. So, just a few things I did want to say really quick, just to clarify from the last episode, is that number one, I know I had said that Arkansas seemed like the end of the world and that, it just seemed like insane and we thought we would hate it. That is true, although I did want to clarify that now that we do live here and that we have spent the last 2 years here, we have really fallen in love with it. It's definitely a different experience than being in San Diego, but that's really what we wanted. And now I'm kind of at the time in my life where I just want to just be in my home surrounded by trees. I really don't like to be around a lot of people too much. I really protect my energy and have boundaries and I just love it. As much as I miss everybody, there is something super freeing about kind of just being, in the woods and I have my chickens and my dogs and my kids and I make all my little natural remedies. I forage on my property. I guess I'm just growing up. But thank God that we have a lot of things always planned to look forward to and exciting things when it comes to the band. And also, I can keep in contact with a lot of my people this way. So, again, thank you for supporting. Thanks for keeping up with us. And there are so many cool things happening, as I said. Another thing that I wanted to clarify as well, that I had said in my last podcast is that the situation where I was talking about the gatekeeping and, the people in the scene that were kind of not as welcoming as I would have liked or expected. Um, that did happen, but that was specifically more surrounding the podcast that I was going to do in Arkansas and the people involved with that. But there have been a couple people that have been just so amazing and just completely welcoming and helpful. And one person that I do want to give a shout out to is Jason Looney. He's one of the promoters out here, and he used to do a lot more promoting in the area. He kind of moved away, and then now he's back, and so he is doing a lot more now. And so for him, it was really like exciting for him to be involved with the Norse and helping them get shows set up. And he did a great job. Excuse me. You know, he put together a awesome show in Oklahoma, and we met some people there and new bands and new friends that way. And he was cool as hell. He's been inviting us to shows out here. He still puts on shows, and he has a band. Also, he's a drummer for a band called Grand Inquisitor. I'm actually wearing their shirt. Show you a little. It's pretty cool. Grim Reaper style dude with some pot plants in the background. Um, and they're just awesome. They have a it's a female fronted band, and they have a singer that is just a tiny little Latina lady who just sells. She is so good, like crazy good, as far as her vocals, and their band is really great. And she is so fun to watch, and their songs are awesome. So if you have a chance, go check them out. Grand Inquisitor is the band. And yeah, and Jason Looney has Brigade Promotions. If you want to follow him or Brigade, then they are on Facebook as well. And then another person out here who's been really amazing in the music scene as well, although she's not a metal person, she is a I mean, metal can also be an attitude, you know? And if that was the case, I'd say she's metal because she's cool as shit. She's rock and roll as hell, but she sings more of kind of like a bluesy type way. And her name is Amanda Ray, and her voice is amazing. She also runs the Northwest Arkansas Music Connection, and she puts on the Northwest Arkansas music. It's basically a music awards, kind of like the San Diego Music Awards, but they do it out here for Northwest Arkansas. And she's the one who puts it all together and everything. And ever since the first day, even when I was first looking for somebody to do a podcast with, she's really busy, but she also has a local TV show and she does all these other things. So she's so busy, but she helped me, like, she tagged a couple people. She kind of was involved with talking to me around that time. So, anyways, I appreciate them too very much. And if you guys are watching this, Jason or Amanda, I apologize if you took offense over what I said on the last podcast. It's just, it was kind of a general statement, and I absolutely did not mean either one of you guys. So, I appreciate you guys. So, yes, that is what I wanted to kind of like just say really quick, because I realized that that could have come off to the people who actually have been very welcoming and supportive as kind of maybe seeming like it could be towards them. And of course, that's not what I want. So we're in February now, and is it just me, or did January feel like one long Monday? Like, it just felt like a really long month. It felt like a lot happened, and it felt like the year was kind of starting off kind of cruddy, especially with a lot of people getting sick and so forth. But February feels different. The vibe feels different. My energy's different. And hopefully that's the same for all of you guys. Hopefully you guys are all, you know, having a great time, and hopefully things are looking up, and hopefully, you know, it's looking like 2025 is going to be a good year for you. So 2025, what's happening with us? So there's some awesome things happening in the Norse camp coming up. So March, they have a show that's going to be on, I believe it's March 22nd or that weekend, and they're playing in North Carolina. I'm not sure exactly what city. And then they're setting up like a mini tour over there. So they should be hopefully playing in, they're thinking maybe Lexington, Kentucky, and possibly Tennessee as well, Nashville. Don't quote me on that. They don't have all of the dates nailed down, but as soon as we do, I will definitely let you guys know as soon as I find out. As I find out, I will let you guys know. And the next cool thing that's happening is the Wacken Festival Battle of Bands. So what they do is every year for actually a really long time, the people of Wacken, the metal festival that happens in Germany every year. They go and they do like a battle of the bands through the whole US country basically. So they have one in San Diego. As far as I knew, they're doing one in Texas, and I suck. I really don't know exactly every city that they're going to, but I know that last year some really great friends of ours actually participated and they won, and that was really exciting for San Diego because San Diego always gets, I mean, not, I wouldn't say a bad rap because San Diego has great metal, always has had great metal, but it just gets overshadowed sometimes by Los Angeles and a lot of the metal bands that come out of Los Angeles. And so it's never been like any type of rivalry situation, but it just is. San Diego's kind of more like the hidden gem when it comes to metal. And it's been going strong for years, but it's just so gratifying as somebody who's in the San Diego metal scene to see San Diego finally getting the spotlight when it comes to a lot of really great bands right now. Like I said, Cascade Effect, they won last year. And in May of last year, they played the Wacken Festival representing the USA. And that kind of gave a lot of the San Diego bands like the oomph to maybe try. And now there are so many bands out there. And so, not to win this thing is definitely something that is possible because there's so much talent. But, you never know unless you actually try. So, a lot of the San Diego bands did sign up, one of them being the Norse. So, on April 19th, so the 18th, or I'm sorry, yeah, because it's the 18th is the first one for the first round in San Diego on that night at Brick by Brick San Diego. And I know that there's a lot of popular San Diego bands playing that one. And then on the second round, it will be the 19th, and that one is the one that the Norse is going to be playing. Now, they have a really good possibility of winning because they are a really great band, but they're just really just wanting to go have fun, participate, and hey, what better reason than to have a show in San Diego? It gives us a reason to go there and visit our family and our friends. So we will be there. We'll probably be there a week before so that the guys can practice and like kind of get everything together as far as their set and everything like that. But the great news is they're going to go on a mini tour in March. So they'll have a lot of time to kind of like, work out some of the kinks and get ready for the show. So yay. So that's March and April, two things that I will definitely keep you guys all updated on and post about, and hopefully you guys can feel like you're a part of it and going through the journey with us. There's a lot of great metal in the US, so I say that just to be a part of this is a kind of really fun thing for them to do, and also for me to tag along too. So I'm excited, and we will see you guys all then. So from there, I don't know exactly what's going to happen because they have not really been planning anything for after that, just in case, they do win or they do move on. If they move on, even if they don't win, if they move on, there's going to be shows in other cities as well, because I believe they're doing the finals in New Jersey this year, and the finals will be in June. I believe. Yeah. So it'll be in July when they'll go to Germany if they win. So if they win the first one, they'll just continue to go and see what happens. And if they lose it, then they'll just, continue planning their other little mini tours that they're going to do around the US. So keep your eye open for them because you don't want to miss it. It's an absolute energetic powerhouse. Anybody who's ever been to a Norse show can tell you that it truly feels like, those cartoons when like the music goes and the metal starts and the hair blows back and everybody's like you can legit feel the energy coming off of them. It's so powerful and intense, and like there's nothing like it. It's a great feeling, and if you get a chance to see them play, then you definitely want to do that. Okay. So now it's story time. So on my last episode, I also did mention, times where I have like found myself in situations with, friends or people that I know, and I run into or bump into or meet somebody who's considered a rock star or considered somebody who's like a celebrity. I have tons of these. And, honestly, all you really have to do is go hang out for a little bit in Southern California and you'll run into somebody. But somebody had asked me, yeah, what rock stars have you met or ended up hanging out with? And like I said, there has been kind of a lot. It's just a part of memories that I have. And so, what I decided to do is come up with a segment of my show that is called Name Drop It. And I know that sounds so ridiculous. And generally, you would not want to be considered a name dropper because it's just obnoxious. Why? Because it is. Nobody wants you to sit there and try to impress them by who you've met or who you know or anything like that or what you can do for them. Even in somewhere like Southern California, that can be a little bit annoying. But for the sake of the show and telling my story and just, some fun stories, I'm going to start doing one every episode. So I figured I had to start with, the coolest one there, right? Arguably there are some really cool ones that I've met, but Lemmy is God, right? That's what they say. And so I got to tell you about how I've met Lemmy. And I've actually met Lemmy 3 times. Well, I guess you can consider it 4, but 3 would be the official amount. Cuz one of the other times I was just around him. I didn't really have contact with him. Um okay, so the first time is when I was about, I think I was just about 21 years old. And I was, okay, so during around this time in 2001, especially in San Diego and like East San Diego, and like Green Valley and Lemon Grove. The big thing was like car shows, and there was a lot of the rockabilly slash greaser vibes going around at that time. This is when a lot of the 50 style was like huge when it comes to like the chicks in that age group. All the men were like greasers and like, wore all like the flannels and the dickies and like the greased hair and rode motorcycles and had like, I used to go to a lot of car shows and, I would dress a little bit like rockabilly slash 50s style pinup y, and that was like kind of like the style around that time. And so there was this little bar. I want to say it was on Bancroft or on University. I cannot remember. God, it's been forever. But it was called the Silver Dragon. And a girlfriend of mine and we were friends with this guy named Justin, and he used to work there. And also, he was like just hanging out. He had a lot of friends there, and they used to hang out there all the time. This was the type of place where they would, when they would shut down, that's when the real party would start. And the owner, his name was Heath, and he was a great guy. And I started going to this bar with my friend, and he took interest in me, and he was, basically trying to woo me. And I had a birthday party around, I think it was my 22nd birthday party. Now that I'm thinking about it. And he offered to throw me a birthday party at the bar. And he used to put lighter fluid all over the top of the bar and then start it on fire. That was like his thing. And it was something that he did all the time on the big nights. It was always like a big party night. And so I had started hanging out there. He threw me this party and I started dating him. And then one night I was out with a bunch of my friends and he was going to the Motorhead concert with a bunch of his friends. And don't tell me how he knew Lemmy or had known him or got in contact with him, but he knew Lemmy. And he's like, hey, after the concert, after the show, we're all going to be partying down at the bar after the show. You want to come over? And I was like, hell yeah. Back then, we didn't start partying until after midnight anyway, sometimes. And so it was like late. It was like, I wouldn't even say late, early. It was like 2 a.m. And he was at the Motorhead concert and like has me come in and we go in and he's like, hey, how are you? You could tell he was totally coked out and come meet Lemmy. And I'm like, and I get there, he gives me a Motorhead tank top. Heath did, not Lemmy. And we go over and they used to have these like little booths. And I don't know who doesn't love a booth, right? It just has like a vibe. And he's sitting there, Lemmy is sitting there, and he like has me come and sit down and I get to meet Lemmy. And at this time, I mean, I was, like I said, about 21 years old, 22 years old. And, I knew Lemmy was like, the singer for Motorhead. And I remember him using the microphone and the microphone being up. And so it seemed like he was like a shorter guy. And oh my gosh, he's not. He's a tall guy. And he was really cool. He didn't talk much to me. They were kind of like on their whole Coke thing. And everybody there was doing Coke. That was like the thing back then. It's like YOLO, right? We were partying all night, and that was just something that was around. Um, so, anyways, that was the first time. And then the second time that I met Lemmy was, I believe, in 2009. So I would have been about 28, 29 years old. And it was when the first time I went to the NAMM show. And my friend, she brought me with her, which I appreciated so much. Like, we were like roll dogs, and her dad worked for PRS guitars. And so I was able to go, and I was like so grateful. We had so much fun. And anyways, she knew and was friends with one of Vinnie Paul's security guys. And oh my gosh, I can't remember if it was her dad or if it was the security guy. Somebody brought us over to introduce us to Lemmy. And so we went over and we go up and we're like, hi, hey, Lemmy. And he's like, hey, girls. Or he said something, lassies, or I don't know what he said. To be honest, he just said hi to us, but he called us something like that was like a word for both of us. And we took a picture with him and we went and we snuggled up underneath his arms and he had this badass jacket on and we got a picture with him and I looked at him and I said, I love your jacket. I want your jacket. And he's like, well, tough titties in his Lemmy voice, of course. And anyways, again, he was really cool, but not too much of an interaction, but definitely, gave us the time of the day for a minute. So that was cool. And then the third time that I met Lemmy, me and my girlfriend Allie, we went to the Whiskey on Sunset to see Catatonia. If you don't know about them, they're amazing. But we ended up going to the Rainbow Room to get some food, and we met Catatonia actually before they performed. And that's where we got to know them. We sat around like a booth with them. We watched them perform at the Whiskey. And then afterwards, we went back to the Rainbow Room. This time we were hanging out kind of like on the outside area. And then you can walk right in, and then there's a bar right there. So everybody who knows Lemmy knows that Lemmy used to love to sit at that bar, and he would just play like the little machines they had, and he would just have his drink, smoke his cigarettes, whatever. And they also have a huge statue of him there now, which is really cool. But anyways, he was there. So we were there with these guys, and that was also the same night I almost got friggin' trafficked by Leatherface, the actor who plays Leatherface. I'm joking, but kind of. He was like begging me to go off with him, and I was like, hell no, because he's a huge man. But anyways, I digress. So I went inside of the Rainbow Room because I saw him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Lemmy. I just want to go say hi. So I went up to him and he was like just kind of sitting there, like all like pissed off looking. And I kind of went up and I said, "Hey, Lemmy." He looked very unapproachable at this time. I'm like, "Hi, how are you? Good to see you." And then I said something like, I think I offered to like get him a drink. I think I said something like, "Can we take a picture?" And he was like, "No, not tonight." I think he said something like that, or "Not tonight, love," or something like that. So he was like polite, but he was like, no. He didn't want pictures taken. And I imagine, sometimes, especially being him, he's so recognizable. It must get really old, people, trying to talk to you. And then on top of that, wanting a picture. So, yeah. So that was the very last time that I had met and had an encounter with Lemmy. So that's my story. Anyways, so I think I've talked enough for this second episode. I hope you enjoyed my little story, my little rock star story, and also keep your eye out for everything going on with the Norse. Again, I know that they appreciate your support. I appreciate your support, and I hope everybody has a amazing February. If you're in love, do something for your person on Valentine's Day. Not because it's something that has to be celebrated. You don't have to spend a lot of money, nothing like that. But if you are in a relationship, and don't get me wrong, I don't celebrate Valentine's Day. Really, we don't. It's not a thing. We don't make a big deal out of it or anything. But I'll tell you what, on those Valentine's Day that he shows up with like even just a flower or a card, maybe something like sweet for me or something, it makes me feel like he gives a shit about showing me that he loves me. And so you should do that for your woman, and women, do that for your men. Okay. You want to know why my marriage has lasted so long? Because I pick my battles. I don't say shit unless I have to say shit. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes I go off on my tangent and he has to say, "Shut up, bitch." But that's why I love him. Because he's just enough sweetness, but he's not a pussy, you know? But he has no problem showing me he loves me. And I do the same for him. If your man has to get up early, get up and make him a sandwich to take to work. If he comes home and he's tired, let him sit down while you do, whatever the dinner. And don't get me wrong, he has to do that too. There are so many days where I'm so tired and all I want to do is lay down, and I get to do that when I do. And I just say, "That's what I'm doing." And then he figures it out. He doesn't get mad at me or anything like that. And then vice versa. If he wants to come home and he's dog tired and I can tell he wants to sit and play his video games, go ahead. Now, if he sees me huffing and puffing around, pissed off while he's on his headset, then yeah, you better get off and help me. Anyways, thank you for sharing your time with me and for listening to me gab about all kinds of shit that's going on in my head. I've been really, really like having anxiety about getting this episode done because always I mentally prepare myself. And for like the last week, I've been doing nothing but thinking about this, about the different things that have happened, blah, blah, blah. But I would call it more like excitement because I was super excited to get set up today. And yeah, well, love you. Just like, I mean, you could just like fuck off now or something. Just kidding. Bye.
till